On a thru hike like the Appalachian Trail, your body requires exponentially more calories than daily life. I'm talking thousands of extra calories. So today I'm going to be sharing with you what I did on my thru hike to make sure I was eating enough calories on trail. Let's start with the science behind it. When talking about your metabolism and the number of calories you are going to be burning on your thru hike, it's important to consider BMR, or base metabolic rate. Your BMR is the number of calories your body needs to perform basic functions like breathing, digesting food, and maintaining homeostasis, or your body temperature. But when you add physical activity to the mix, you'll need to consider all of that additional energy expenditure. Hiking burns anywhere from 400 to 600 calories per hour, depending on factors like your age, weight, gender, pack weight, terrain, etc. So here's an equation to help estimate how many calories you might be burning while hiking. First, you'll need to figure out what your BMR is. We'll do this by using the Mifflin-St. Jeor equation. For men, your resting metabolic rate is equal to 9.99 times your weight in kilograms, plus 6.25 times your height in centimeters, minus 4.92 times your age, plus 5. For women, you'll use the same equation, but instead you'll subtract 161. And if all that seems a little bit confusing, I'll leave a link in the description to an online calculator that makes the process really easy. So once you have your BMR figured out, next you'll need to calculate your MET, or metabolic expenditure of task, which is just basically how much energy you exert during physical activity. And that's based on how much oxygen you're consuming during those activities. So your base MET is around 7, but that increases with pack weight and incline. For example, climbing hills with a 10 to 20 pound pack adds MET to 7.3. If your pack weighs around 21 to 42 pounds, your MET can be brought all the way up to 8.3. So for this formula, your calories burned equal your MET times your weight in kilograms times 3.5 over 200 times the number of minutes that you're hiking for. So if you weigh 154 pounds, or around 70 kilograms, and you hike at an MET of 7 for around 8 hours, you will have burned 3,920 calories. So now that we've calculated our BMR and our MET, we can put that together and figure out what we really need to know, which is how many calories do I need per day hiking? For that, you'll use this equation. So what does all of this mean? Basically, you need a lot of calories on trail, anywhere from 4,000 to 6,000 calories a day. I definitely wouldn't worry too much about calculating things to a T every day or even every week. The point of the trail is to just have fun. You don't want to really be sitting there doing equations all day to make sure you're getting enough. In reality, it's really hard in the first place to put enough calories in your pack to last you throughout the week and not really sacrifice that much on weight. Also, it's important to keep in mind that women are much more suited than men for endurance sports. Women on trail tend to lose a lot less weight than men, and that's because we have a higher reservation of fat. I didn't really understand much about this before I went on my thru hike, so I thought I was going to be losing a lot of weight, and so I decided to gain 15 pounds before trail so that I would have a little bit of a backup in case I wasn't getting enough calories. I didn't end up losing any weight though, so I still have those extra 15 pounds. But me and my hiking partner, who is also a woman, did not end up losing any weight at all. If you want even more information about your calorie consumption on a thru hike and the risks that falling short could lead to, there are 2 really great studies by 2 former thru hikers. I will link those below. So with all of that out of the way, let's get into all the things that I did to maximize my calorie consumption on trail. Before we get into what I actually packed out in my bear bag, let's go over the in-town meals. In-town meals is where you can get so many of your calories. Every time you're stopping into town, you're gonna wanna eat at restaurants and fill up on basically as much junk food and as much rich and, heavy, hearty meals that you can that are gonna give you the most calories on your rest days. Also, keep in mind, you're going to want to prioritize nutrition as much as you can. Your body is going through a lot, so it definitely needs the proper nutrients. Of course, on trail, you're going to eat junk food, but you need to make sure that you're eating non-processed foods when you can. And prioritize protein. So, considering nutrition, what foods do you need to pack that provide both calories and value? First, we're going to talk about one of the tastiest macronutrients, which are carbohydrates. Carbs are quick energy, easy to digest, and they're in a lot of staples like potatoes, oatmeal, rice, and ramen. Next, of course, is proteins, which are essential for muscle synthesis and repair. Good trail options can include beef jerky, protein powder, or dehydrated beans. Next, you're going to need fats, of course. They are very calorie dense and they can be lightweight in your pack. They can be found in peanut butter, cheese, oils, or even chocolate. Lastly, you'll need to prioritize your micronutrients. You can do this by adding dried fruits, electrolyte mixes, or even dehydrated veggies to your meals. I even decided to take a well-rounded vitamin supplement every morning on trail, just to make sure I was really getting all the nutrients I needed. And make sure to go with pills instead of gummies to save weight and your teeth. Calorie density is super important too, so I would definitely consider that when you are in stores looking for items that you are going to want to pack out. And all you have to do to figure out calorie density is look at the item's weight versus calories and compare ratios. So increasing my calorie count involved adding a lot of things to meals I was already going to be eating. And the number one hiker favorite thing to add to your meals is protein powder. This is my favorite protein powder, and I used this on the whole trail, and why I love it so much is it actually has quite a lot of vitamins and minerals in it on top of protein, and it comes in a really small packaging, so it's easy to dump this in a Ziploc bag and take the whole thing in your pack. This protein powder is vanilla flavored, so I added it to meals that I knew were already going to be sweet, like oatmeal, but if you are wanting to add protein powder to ramen or mashed potatoes or anything like that, they do make protein powder that is unflavored. And not only does this add protein, but of course it adds calories. This one specifically adds about 120 calories per scoop. I usually put 2 scoops in. I also want to talk about one of the best trail foods of all time, peanut butter. Peanut butter is not only high in protein at 8 grams per 2 tablespoons, but it's loaded with calories as well. It's perfect in oatmeal, on a tortilla, or just by itself, and it comes in trail-friendly packaging like squeeze pouches. They even have powdered peanut butter if you want to save on weight. And of course, there's lots of other nut butters to choose from, like almond or cashew. They even have a lot of different flavors. If you want something even sweeter, there's always Nutella, which is just as high calorie, but you'll have to sacrifice a little bit on protein. Speaking of sweets, honey is a great way to add flavor and calories to your food and drinks. Plain old sugar is also a good option. It's easy to find sugar packets to add to your morning coffee. Instant coffee is always going to be a hiker's favorite, but it has almost no calories. Luckily, there's many things you can add for extra flavor and density. You can also opt for pre-flavored instant coffee beverages, which are going to give you more calories and sugars. You can also add dehydrated milk to your coffee, or you can even add it to things like oatmeal, pasta, or mashed potatoes. You can also add Carnation's Breakfast Essentials to your coffee, or have it by itself if you're not much of a coffee person. And of course, you can always add it to oatmeal. These breakfast essential packets are highly rated by hikers. It has lots of protein and essential vitamins and minerals like vitamin D and calcium. It's pretty high calorie for a beverage too. As far as other beverages on trail, you'll definitely be drinking a lot of drink mixes. They are so important for electrolytes, vitamins, and even the caffeine to keep you hiking. Since these drink packets are already going to be something you have in your pack, you might as well make sure that you're choosing ones that have calories. None of these are going to be very high calorie, but anything is better than nothing. Something you'll see a lot of on trail is Emergen-C. It's one of the highest calorie drink mixes and provides you with much needed vitamin C and antioxidants. Another way to maximize your calorie consumption is by opting for denser alternatives when you can. Like instead of getting bread for that sandwich you were going to pack out, take a tortilla. They're higher in calorie and won't get squished in your bag. Hikers also love to add calorie-dense fats to meals like oil and butter. Olive oil is perfect for the trail because it's so calorically dense, but unfortunately it's pretty heavy and it's a natural laxative, so you'll want to plan accordingly. People also love other fat-rich options like butter and even ghee. You can also look for things to add to meals that are low in weight. Seasoning packets are such a morale boost on trail, and they add a surprising amount of calories for their size. Same thing with chicken or beef bouillon, which can also add collagen for your muscles. On top of looking for high-calorie foods, it's important to avoid low-calorie products marketed as health foods. I made the mistake of taking rice cakes for just the sake of their low weight. I also made the mistake of taking riced cauliflower. I remember how disappointed I was after dinner one night when I realized my entire meal was only 38 calories. And to those navigating an eating disorder or body dysmorphia, especially on trail, counting calories can definitely be a point of contention and can be really triggering. The Appalachian Trail is a journey of joy and self-love and self-discovery. Your body does so much for you on trail, allowing you to experience everything that nature has to offer. So if counting calories or any of this feels like too much for you, just focus on eating comforting foods and nourishing your body. Try to stay in tune with your hunger and fullness cues. If being on trail leads to distressing thoughts about food or your body, please reach out to the trail communities, counselors, and hotlines. The trail isn't about restriction or binging. It's about embracing what your body can do and showing up for yourself. You deserve to feel strong, nourished, and proud. And if you are not struggling with these thoughts, please understand that so many other people are, and remember to always talk about these topics with kindness and love. Thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a comment if you have any tips to add calories to your meals on trail, or if you just have any calorie-dense meal recipes that you want to share. I would love to know them. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and stay tuned for more trail content.